Welcome, y'all, to another episode, well, actually, episode 3 of our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free. I'm super excited to be here today with my guests from all the way on the opposite side of the globe. Welcome so much. So glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Tiffany, for making time and for opening space, such a beautiful space for women like us. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. And that's the intention. Let's bring women like us together. And speaking of bringing us together, because we are across the globe, where in the world are you, Anousha?
I'm actually very, very far away in a land very far away. I'm based in the Indian Ocean. It's a tiny island near South Africa, and it's right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's known to be the Paradise Island, the honeymoon destination for many. So, if you're thinking for a second honeymoon, a third one, pop by to say hello. I'd love to see you in person.
Yes, yes. And I'm always looking for trips. I've never made it quite that far. I did Europe when I was younger, but it is time to get out of this side of the world for sure. Now, I'm
Yeah.
super excited to have you here with us. And the goal of Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free is not all about the child free. It's very much about women business owners and women that have amazing professions. And so I know you've got something that you don't talk about a lot, that's kind of a newer thing that you're doing, but it's so unique, something that I don't hear hardly anyone doing or promoting. And so tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, how you got there, and why it matters.
Thank you for opening the space to talk about this. I haven't really spoken about this out loud in the world, not just yet, because I wasn't sure how to go about with it. It's a very niche topic. It's a very niche, a very, I would say, subtle and again between the lines. That is, it's a topic that hits almost everybody, but we hardly speak about it openly. So let me take you down the line a little bit, down the lane a little bit. So all of that started in 2018. I was gonna get married, and of course, that didn't go as planned. I was cheated on. My best friend decided to do his thing because that's what he does. That's that. And I canceled the wedding. I did what I had to do, and it's been 7 years. This April is going to be 7 years, and it's been a journey. Tiffany, when people get cheated on, there are different scenarios that go through their mind. Of course, there are different emotions that they go through and different healing stages if they choose the healing path, of course. The first person that gets cheated on in scenario one, probably he's going to be like, okay, I got cheated on. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. Let's just move on, and then they go on to the next person without really dealing with their traumas or with the patterns, with the behavior that triggered the other person, or vice versa. That's one. And they continue the same pattern over and over again until 15, 20 years down the lane. It's a little bit too late to kind of rectify their mistakes. The second scenario is people victimize themselves. Oh my God, I got cheated on. It's the end of the world. The environment is not good. He was doing this, he was doing that. The blame game, the victim. And then they put themselves in that victim mentality and they go on to the next prey or they go on to the next person, trying to victimize everything that happens in their life. For example, they would be like, oh, my boss is always like this, or my colleagues are always like this, my mom is always like this, my friends are always the same. They're always complaining, never happy with things. We have those kind of people as well. And then there's some other group of people that go quiet. When something like that happens in their life, they go completely quiet and they don't trust anything anymore and they don't look for friends anymore and they just go completely numb and they numb their pain. That's the only coping mechanism they know. And the fourth scenario that I would say is the path that I chose, which is a path of oneness, of knowing why, the why of things. Why do people do that, what they do? How can someone sleep at night or eat and redo their life so easily with someone else when they know that they have actually destroyed someone else's life? How do they just move on from that? And the person that has to move on, for example, me in that scenario, I did move on. I did try to get my things together. I did try to get my life back on track, to take my power back literally. And that was the hardest thing to do because it's not the easiest thing to do. And I don't do easy things. I've chosen the right thing to do and I chose me, which is the healing path. And it's been 7 years. It's been a crazy ride. I've had to redo all of my subconscious belief system. I had to look at all my values, the way I function, the way I talk, the way I was brought up, went all through my childhood traumas, and did a lot of work until now. I'm still healing. I'm still trying to understand how to get the things right, because people do what they gotta do and they move on. But when you are left here with yourself and you want to know what life is all about, is it really that, what do you do when these things happen? So after my TED talk, to come back to your question without much drifting apart, I chose the healing path and I chose me, right? So by choosing me, I made the choice of being with me forever. And I have to be comfortable in who I am as a person. I need to be able to look at myself in the mirror and be happy. And I have my integrity to respond to, have my ego to look at in the eye every morning. And I have to live with myself. So when I chose the healing journey after my TED talk in 2019, that has been life changing.
So can
COVID
we
became my
pause before we
yes.
go on? Because I know we got more to go. Tell us a little bit about your TED Talk. What did you chat about? And how was that experience for you? And then we'll kind of go. So we're going to kind of pause here. Let's go a little bit more in depth in the TED Talk,
Sure.
and then we'll get back into
I'd
after
love
that,
to.
Anousha, if that's okay with you.
Of course, I'd love
All
to
right.
tell you about that. So, when I got cheated on, I decided to, of course, cancel the wedding within 3 days. I just canceled everything. And I carried on. I've been always someone who's very career minded. My career always comes first. So, TEDx came to Mauritius and I was pre selected. At that particular point, I wanted to speak about what do people go through? How do they manage their personal life? As being a woman, it's already very hard to manage your professional and your personal life, and people don't take you seriously. They always ask you in job interviews, "How old are you? Are you married? Are you planning to have children?" Because they have to think for themselves. That's the sad reality of life. And speaking about equality is something completely different as well. So in 2019, I was selected to do a TED talk. And while I got chosen, and then during the process of, writing my talk, Tiffany, I got to experience a very unique, specific title, which is Wedding Dress Ready, He Cheats, What Now? And it's like when we Googled it with the curation team of TED, they were like, "Oh, we don't have that topic. Let's go for it." And I was like, "Are you guys sure?" I've never seen something so dramatic like that on TED. And they were like, "No, let's do it."
Nice.
You never know. And I've never kind of promoted my TED talk or anything like that because I was very much in my own situationship at that time. I was dealing with so much emotions and so much questioning in my life. I never really put myself out there again. It's been very low key undercover. And so after my TED talk, it's like it was an opening of a whole new era, of a whole new world for myself. And people started coming to me for advices and coming to me for, hey, I've been cheated on, it's hurting. What do I do? And my phone was blown up. I still have about 700 friend requests pending from 3-4 years ago. And my LinkedIn, people just from all over just started really wanting to talk. And I don't know why, but a lot of men would want to just talk about how I've got different scenarios, how their wife or their girlfriends are cheating on them, and they know, and they can't like they can't, you know, confront the person. Second scenario is he's cheating and he's comfortable with that, but he wants to stop. And the third scenario is he's cheating, he doesn't want to stop, but he wants to continue to have all of his, péché mignon, like we say, like sweet tooth in English, if you want me to put it that way. And yeah, so when I got, after my TED talk, when I got into opening that door of healing, that got me into a different thing. And COVID came right after COVID. I started getting into NLP, neuro linguistic programming, to understand my brain, to understand myself, why I was having so much anger I had so much anger in me, like I could kill someone with my anger. Like it was
No.
crazy. Yes, I used to be a very angry person and just didn't know what to do with all of that emotion because of what somebody else did to me. It took me like 4 or 5 years just to deal with that anger and to kind of really accept. It's been the hardest journey, but it's been the most fulfilling journey as well.
So do you find yourself, I know it's such this thing. I always hate it when it's like, well, the best thing that ever happened to me, because like, no, it's not. But do you find that this kind of sparked a path that you never would have gone down before had it not happened? And do you feel like you're in a better place than you were back then?
Oh, 100%. Because back then I was 100%. Because back then I was really chasing my career. You know, you have to be on top of the game, and I'm a Virgo pure breed, so I'm always very analytical. I need to be on top of my game. I need to know what's happening. I need to be out there, out and about, and being on top of it. So when that hit, it kind of brought me completely to the back end of it, and I lost my job in the second year of COVID. I started working for some other company, and then I decided to, you know what? I don't have anybody. I'm not going to get married. I could have chosen to get married to the next person. I could have chosen the easiest path. There's a lot of guys who would want to settle down and thinking, she's so beautiful. Why is she single? Maybe I should get to know her. Many try. They do get to know me, but they can't take it because I'm too much. It's too much. It's truth. It's the truth. I am who I am.
Oh, one of the things
And
I love about people, I think about oftentimes, I talk flavor. And I usually joke like networking groups are like beer, they all have their different flavor. However, I think people are like that too. And if we think about spicy, I can't do very spicy. I'm very I'm very just white and like British, like all I'm from up in that part of Europe. My taste buds are like, whew. And there's just some stuff my husband will make, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is great. Could you reduce the spice next time?" He's like, "I did it in half." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I just can't take so much." And I know that. And so I love the fact that, you're a little too much for some people, but some people will absolutely love that. And I think it's so
oh,
important
yes.
to find the people that we're the right fit for versus like I just think dating's so funny. Now, I have to confess, I had started dating my husband in 1998. So we just celebrated our 20th year wedding anniversary. So I haven't actually like dated as an adult. But like I see all these people out there and they're like lying about this, or like let me shave a few years here, or let me fib on that, or like the whole child free conversation. Apparently that's a massive thing. People will say they want kids or they don't
Mm,
want kids and not be honest. And I'm like, why? Like there is like a TMI for like the first date or the second date, but like from a child's free perspective, if you want kids, why would we go on a second date? If I'm like, I'm not a vegan. I'm eating less meat, but I'm not a vegan. But it's like that's really important to me. Why would I date, a cattle rancher that is all about that? Like to me, why not set ourselves up
Honesty is
for
the
that?
best policy because you have to
Yeah,
live with
yeah.
that at the end of the day. You be honest about it. You say, listen, dude, this is who I am. I like to have several women. I like to tie people up and do bonding. I don't know, but you be honest about it. And I'll see whether I want to have a child with you or not. Because, free will, right?
Right. Definitely.
So, yes, you were telling me about spices, and a lot of people, most of the people who love me, they just love me. But people who I'm too much for them, could bye bye, Charlie. Yeah, have bigger fish to fry.
And what a wonderful world that we live in, that we have so many various options of whatever it is that we happen to want to be looking for. We don't have to be
And
limited.
absolutely. And this is the awakening phase. People are losing a lot of, they're shedding their leaves, they're shedding the people in their life, and they're awakening. So they kind of choose now. I don't want this person is not talking to me anymore. Oh, the universe is taking them away. No, it's just you're improving, you're leveling up in life. And those people, if they don't want to be part of it, you just let go. And there's one thing that I've learned very early in life. You don't force anything in life, Tiffany. You can't force it. Like, I think this is one of the things that I said as well to you when we first chatted, is like whether we're going to go for it or not. Either way, we can't force it. If the vibe didn't sit, it wouldn't sit. It would never sit. unless I pretend and I pretend to be this, but I can't pretend. This is who I am, and it's going to be like that. So you can't force it. Relationships, whatever it is, the only time you force it is probably in the bathroom, and we leave it at that.
So I know earlier we were talking and I detoured for the TED Talk. I want to make sure. I think you came back and kind of answered, went back the way you were going, but I just want to make sure. Did we cover up all? Do we get back to
We
the story
did.
complete? All right.
We did. So I did my TED Talk, and after that, I opened a whole new era of self-discovery. And after COVID, during COVID, I did my NLP, I did my website. I just got into talking to people, a lot of free coaching, getting to talking to a lot of, especially men. And this is the second time I'm actually saying this out loud. It's going to go all over the internet. I never publish about my work. I don't put it anywhere on my website. I have zero posts. I've been so busy with everything in my life. So after that, I went to Australia, and Australia went kind of a completely self discovery part for me. And that's the best thing about being single and without any children, is I could do what I want when I want, and it's a free choice. That at that particular point in time, I thought I needed to get out of Mauritius. It was getting too much for me. And I could go to the easiest place was Australia. And it did me good, actually. It did me good because I kind of went to tap into my brains, you name it, psychedelics and all sorts of other things, just to know what is it all about? What is it that we talk about in our brains? Who are these different personalities that sits with us matin, midi, soir, 3 times a day?
So So it sounds like you've had lots of adventures, and you just kind of mentioned you've got that flexibility and freedom being child free. And so I was wondering if you could, share a little bit about your experience over the years being child free. And I know when we were kind of pre-interview conversation, because I'm Christian Baptist, grew up, and I hadn't really thought, I don't think till I talked to you about the influence on religion and different religions and that belief that even plays into being child free. So you want to share with us a couple minutes about, your life as child free?
100%. And I think a lot of women are going to relate to that. So, my name is Anousha, born and bred in Mauritius, and I'm Hindu as religion. And according to Hinduism, you become a complete woman. I mean, of course, let me just take that again. In in ourselves, we have both sides. We have the feminine and the masculine sides. That's a given for every single person. It depends on when you reach in your life to tap into these energies, because in yourself you're already whole. But in some religions they teach you that you need to have your better half. I don't believe in that, all of that now. But in the past, even for me, the wiring, the Bollywood movies, the Cinderella stories, and all of that wiring. And you see your sisters, your brothers getting married, and they have their wives and everything. And then they are into that process of having one child. And then you see someone says in the wedding, oh, when is second one coming? And you're like, oh, now you have to have a second one. Okay, so let's do nappies again at 3 a.m. in the morning. And then all of a sudden you have a third child, and then your whole life goes into taking them to school, picking them from karate classes to dancing, ballet, and then it's like I see my brothers and sisters now. It's like, boy, you guys are doing it. Merci, mais non merci. Like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm not doing that.
Okay, wait. So I got the mercy, the thank you, but how do you say the second part of that? Because I'm like, that's such a great way. I'm always loving to try and pick up. Okay, can I pick up
I know.
foreign
Yeah.
phrases? So say that one more time.
So merci,
merci,
mais non,
no,
merci.
Okay, that makes total sense. All right, I'm gonna try. Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
I write it down for you, and yeah. Okay, so we
thank
take
you,
that
but
again.
no, thank you. Mercy, no mercy.
Yeah, and that's that. So coming back to your question, as being a Hindu girl, and I'm the black sheep of the family, Tiffanie. There's no two ways about it. I've never done anything their way. And the best person who's my supporting actor in this is the love of my life, my mom. She never pressurizes me.
Uh,
She lets me be. She loves me to bits. Trust me, she drives me crazy every now and then. But that's the paradox of love. The person you love the most, that's the person that's going to drive you the most mad as well. But at the end of the day, love is unconditional, and I've lived unconditional love with her, and I think you do that with your husband, and you can totally relate where I'm going with this. Like, you can be mad at this person for 1 second, and the next minute it goes away because the love is bigger than that.
right.
So, coming back from a Hindu background, I'm supposed to be married by 25 because, or else the society doesn't accept me. Of course, I have to be married to a Hindu. No, you cannot be married to somebody else. I was going to get married in a white dress. The guy was a Christian guy. So, already. And I've always traveled a lot. I've always traveled alone. I've kind of been very independent. If I have a broken tire, for example, I don't have anybody to call. I'll call the guys who gonna come and fix it. But in Mauritius, everybody knows everybody, and they're gonna have like a support system. I've kind of never had that. I've been ultra independent, and it was kind of a trauma response as well, as being the last child in the family and having to do everything on my own without any support whatsoever. And I think that's a perk of being the last child of the family. People say that, oh, you're the most loved one. No, you're not the most loved one. You have to take over the responsibility when everybody else is gone.
Mm.
So, yeah, I have decided to not have any children because I want to be free. I want to be, listen, if I meet Prince Charming down the line, and Prince Charming, we do the thing, and then you have the swan that comes and delivers a baby in my basket, then I'll take it, or else I think,
Prince Charming probably also has a royal nanny to help take care of the kids.
God bless you, amen for that. I want that kind of lifestyle anyway. I want someone to look after the nanny, someone to cook for me. I want all of it. If you're going in, you might as well go all in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's good to dream, girl, yeah?
Well, it's funny. I started thinking. I've been thinking a lot lately about this whole child-free thing because if y'all are following us or me online, this is a new idea. This wasn't something I even knew existed. Child-free as a designation until the end of 2024. And so this is all kind of brand new. And I'm like, I just love these women and the energy that they have, and I want to be around them. And I was thinking about, growing up, what were my thoughts of being a mom? And the only thing that really comes to mind that I remember, like, okay, when I grow up, my mom's going to watch my kids while I go to work. That was the one thing that I remember. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't other things, but that's the one thing that sticks out for me is that was my intention when I had kids, was my mom was going to take care of them because her mom took care of me when I was younger. Before, my mom was a stay-at-home mom after she had my brother, but my first few years I went to grandma's house. So I was like, when I have kids, I'm sending them to grandma's house. And that tells you, I'm like, that's the only thing I remember about wanting to be a mom. That's probably a good reason. Like, if there wasn't any desire,
But have you ever wanted to have children?
not really. I mean, my plan was I'd, have my mom take care of when I went to work, and that was about it. And we early on, my husband and I had these conversations, like when we were still kids, almost. I mean, we were in college, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want kids. So I knew from a pretty young age that I was okay not having kids. And people are like, you would be a great mom. And I'm like, yeah, I could be a great mom, and I could be a great teacher, and I can be a lot of great things that I choose not to. And that's okay. And it's one of those, well, what if you had to be? Well, I didn't have to be. Like, I love, people are always like, you and Rob are always going places and you're always doing things and it looks like you're having lots of fun. And I'm like, yes.
It's a choice, girl.
We actively chose not to have kids.
And just to tell you about this specific scenario that I went through in my life, on like when you work, you have colleagues, right, at work. And then after the weekends, when you go to work, people are going to ask you, so how was the weekend, when they're making a coffee? And there I am. I went to the beach. I went to this festival. Oh, I had a blast. I danced until 4 in the morning. I'm always having a fun evening, a fun weekend. And they will be like, oh, it's Anousha, she always has the best life. And I'm like, bro, it's a choice. You decided to have children and deal with it now. You wanted to know about my weekend. I was very honest. How was my weekend? You want to know how's my life? How come I'm still looking okay, because I don't have any children and it's a choice. I mean, no offense to them, but it's a choice that we all make at some point in life. And if that point in time you couldn't understand that whether you want to have children or not, because you're gonna have to live with them for the rest of your life. And if you can't handle, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got 10 nephews and nieces. I love kids and I'm always with kids. And I'm a good aunt as well. I think I
Yeah.
am. I'll ask my nieces and nephews and I'll tell you. But they're not that for me, like I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to travel. I want to grow old with big sunglasses and a big hat when I'm 70 by the beach somewhere and not having to worry about university fees. All my money is going to be mine.
Or, just because the kids get older doesn't mean that the drama ends, for sure. And it's one of those, I'm a big believer, if you want kids, have kids. If you don't want kids, don't have kids. If you're in the middle, talk to a counselor. Babe, maybe go. I was listening to a podcast the other day and it was like, if you are trying to decide if you want kids or not, find your friend that just had kids and go like be a live-in nanny for a month for them. I'm like,
But
ooh, that's brilliant, because then you really get the day-to-day
the
of
gist,
there
absolutely.
is no time
And
off.
there's no time off. It's a 24/7, 365 on 365. And it doesn't end until the last time you close your eyes, because that's how it is. And probably in your old age, they're just gonna shove you up in a home somewhere and come to visit you once or twice a month. No, I'm good. And it's just heartbreaking seeing even my mother who longs for her children and her grandchildren. And for me, it's heartbreaking. She was going through a very difficult period of her life because of this. And then
Yeah.
it's part and parcel of life, but it is a reality. And all of that made me think like, I think I'm good. I'll pass.
What I love is we have so many options and so many choices. Now, speaking of options and
Absolutely.
choices, I know you work with lots of different peoples in lots of different aspects, but tell us how people can get in touch with you, and, kind of what you do when you work with people.
All right. So do I tell you what do I do now?
Yes.
So, well, I'm a relationship coach, and that kind of shifted my whole life because I've studied hospitality hotel management, never did done that. I've always been a sales and business development person. And when that happened, I went into neurolinguistic hypnotherapy and started trying to really understand how we work as a person to get the subconscious beliefs out and the values and everything else. So, started my coaching practice in 2020 on a serious note. And then I traveled to Australia. That's how it really got shaped, I would say. And like we say, there's no coincidence in life. There's always a reason for things to happen. So he cheated. That's on him. Have nothing to do with that. Probably he's still doing, because that's how people are. They don't really change. They do what's easy. And for me, I decided to take all of that energy and to bring it into my coaching. And it kind of went from there. It spiraled up. It's been very consistent. I'm not going with a boom like, hey, I'm on your face. I'm a relationship coach. I talk about cheating. No, it's very undercover. I rarely post. I don't even post about what I do, actually. And I'm a relationship coach. I specialize in cheating and infidelity. I talk about infidelity, how it is. I don't sugarcoat it. Oh, you've been cheated on. No, I talk about it in the entirety of it, because to speak about hard things, you need to realize that you're going through hard things. And if you want me to be very crude about it, it's I've been given this gift. I would say God has pushed me towards this and pulled out. I don't necessarily coach women because I think women have a lot of support system already, and they don't seem to come towards me for their self discovery journey. But I coach a lot of men, and I've got clients from all over the world who come to me for coaching, especially when they are being cheated on and they don't have anybody to talk to about. So that's my niche. I am for the man, by the man, with the man. And trust me when I tell you this, I'm doing an amazing work because I believe men go through a lot of pressure in their life from a very, very young age, Tiffany, that we are not even aware of.
Yeah.
No one really talks about it. We all are so busy in our own things, but men are special just as we are special women,
Yeah.
They're very special. And I've got some wonderful men in my life who take care of me, who loves me just the way I am. They don't feel threatened by my energy. They don't diminish my light. They don't try to switch off or take off the bulb completely. No. And after being cheated on, of course, I met a lot of wonderful men. I dated, of course, after that. And sometimes things doesn't work out because I don't want it to work out. Because they want children and I don't want to. They want to settle down and I don't want to. Simple as that. But we're still friends. We still connect. We still meet in the middle of the world somewhere to have a coffee. You know what I mean? And those people have taught me that there are a lot of wonderful men out there, but they go through this very difficult, because they're men, no one really takes care of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's funny, we were talking about women and their like especially religious pressures on having children. I mean, men definitely have pressures of being the head of the family and having to take care of everything. And there's so like I feel like everyone has something that's weighing on them for whatever reason in whatever way, shape, or form. And so maybe we just all need to give each other grace. And I love the fact that you're creating a safe space for people to, you know, work on the impact that cheating or infidelity, whether it's their own or someone else's, is having within their relationship. And I know lots of people aiming at women. So the fact that you're offering the safe space for men is powerful. I think everybody deserves a safe space. And that's
Absolutely.
appropriate with what we're creating here with this group of the women entrepreneurs living child free as a safe space. You're being able to create that for the gentleman.
Thank you. And I didn't know that this is where I was going to get at. Honestly, when I did it because I wanted to get people out of their mindset when they get cheated on, that it's not about them, it's about what the person do. And because they do it because they are hurt people, hurt people. People who are
Right.
not well in themselves, they're going to hurt you. And people who cheat is because they're already in the hell in their head. They can't deal with it. It's like a gambling, it's an addiction.
Right. Yeah.
So men, it just happened me dealing with them, and then throughout my journey for the past 5 years, I would say, it's been wonderful. It's been magical. It's heartbreaking at the same time because men have a lot of pressure ever since they are born,
Yeah.
and especially in our community because they have to. When a man is born, he's a little boy already. When he grows up, he's going to take care of the family.
Mm.
And then he grows up. He has to be good looking. He has to be academically doing well. He has to have good grades because he needs to study well so he can get a job, start earning. And of course, when he starts earning, he needs to buy a house because, the woman needs a house, right? If you are lower middle class or middle class, you need to level up because you need to have a woman who's going to meet your criteria. At least you come with some set of criteria, right? So then already the pressure is building. They have to work 60 hours a week, buy a car, because if you have a bike or a motorcycle, I don't think you're going to get a date, bro. Like, it's very limited. Your dates are limited.
Plus, you
You need
can't
a
put the
car.
kids in the back seat of a motorbike.
Like, let's suppose they're still dating, okay? So the kids are probably going to come after for a seven-seater. So you have to even work even harder. So for guys, it doesn't stop. And then, of course, they have to satisfy their women after working 50 hours for 45 minutes on a Friday night. So that's even a lot of pressure. And now, if you have a small pee, that's even the worst. It's like the end of the world. Sorry, guys go through it.
Uh, well, I would love to keep chatting, but we are out of time. We are over time. I'm like, we're just having fun, and that's just how these go. Is to me, I just love getting to have these conversations, learn about amazing women from all around the globe. Anousha, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing. Y'all can check out the website. That is there. She does have a special offer for us. I will include all those details in the show notes here, y'all. Anything else you want to leave us with today on this happy and fabulous Friday?
I would say if you are in a relationship, be honest. If you're not happy, leave. But don't leave that person in pieces. Leave them with fundamental things for them to work on and for yourself. So you can know who you are and look for the love that you are and that love that you want. But stop destroying people because of your own malicious intentions. I would say that. And be happy. And that's a paradox of love, I would say, you know. Thank you, Tiffanie, for making time and space for me.
Anousha, thank you so very much for sharing, for being public with this, because we are now all over the world. Thank you so much. We so appreciate it. Thanks, y'all, for watching, and we will see you next week for another episode of Women Entrepreneurs Living Child Free.